Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Qdabra webinar. We're going to be talking today about FormsDesigner 4.7, our latest release and the changes we've made for that. We've got a few other things to share with you, and we are so glad you are all here. I hope nobody had trouble joining in Teams. This is new for us, so we appreciate your patience as we transition from GoToWebinar to Teams, and we are just so happy to have you all. Um, I will turn things over to Patrick. And Patrick, you are muted.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Thanks, Hillary, for emceeing at the beginning here. We are rapidly approaching our final release. We've got a couple new customer requests over the last week that we're going to add just in time for the finish line. And we're happy to talk about those. Probably not today, but we can talk about them today. In fact, we should. Jimmy, you should talk about, or actually, Samuel, you should actually talk about the editing the resource file, which is Jimmy's idea. I don't think we have a customer who had asked us about that. And we should also talk about the save as option that Richard suggested. Sweta, maybe you can talk about that a little bit, maybe just describe what it is and how we're going to do it, where we're going to do it. So we're talking today about the next release of FormsDesigner. This is our final release in this summer cycle to reach the end zone of feature parity with InfoPath, and it's 4.7 now. We will no doubt have releases, bug fixes, feature releases in the next few months, but we put a lot of effort into this sprint over the last 3 months, and we're going to be fixing bugs for a month at least, getting your feedback, and then uh, getting back together and reconvening to discuss what's next for the next release cycle, which will probably begin sometime in September and carry us through the end of the year. So we do this release cycle a couple times a year. Well, that's the goal anyway. And we've had a huge amount of improvement, acceleration, thanks to AI. We'll also be giving a quick update on AI. We've got a little thought to share with you at the end, but the main purpose of this webinar today is the demos of the new stuff. So without any further ado, I'd like to hand over to Samuel. Samuel, are you ready?
Yeah.
I'll stop sharing.
Let me just share my screen. Okay, so greetings to everyone. Today I will be doing a couple of features in this webinar. The first feature is now we are adding the ability to change the data type of the data source. For example, if I want to change the data type of this text field, now we have options to change data type with this button, and it will prompt a warning message like this. And if I click yes, it will swap this modal kind of thing, where I can change data type from text to some other things like decimal, and I can submit change type, and type of the data field will be changed. So this is the first feature. And the next feature is we have also added the ability or a feature to change the vertical alignment of the cell. So this this particular cell is currently um, uh, bottom aligned in a vertical space. And if I click on middle align, it will implement that. Yeah, I can also click on top, and it will implement that. We can also modify for multiple cells. These two cells have different kind of alignment. That's why it is not highlighted for any of the button. If I select any one of this, both of the cell will be implemented with the bottom alignment. And if I go back and select both of these now, uh, the bottom alignment will be shown, and um, we can do this for multiple cells or single cells. Um, uh, that is pretty much about my demo today. Any questions?
We're using Teams, so we have this new question at the top here, Q&A. You guys are all familiar with this because you've been using Teams for your webinars forever and a day. This is our first attempt at using Teams. We've been using GoToWebinar up until now. If you have a question, please do use that new Q&A icon at the top of the screen. We're going to switch back. I want to quickly summarize what Samyong demoed. And Samyong, I also want you to mention this edit resource file thing, which you're working on. And we have a brief call out to it in a couple slides, but you showed the changing data types, which is key, and you showed vertical alignment. Do you want to talk about the edit resources files, what you're doing there, and what it is?
Yeah, of course. So currently we have options to add resource file, and we have also added a new feature um, during this development phase, which allowed us now to download the resource file. And on the top of that, Jimmy had an idea to add a new feature that would allow users to make edits to the resource files that are mostly text-based. For example, XML, JavaScript, CSS, or uh, so and such. So we will be working on this feature where we'll provide a simple, minimal text editing feature editor feature where user can make edits to uh, those kind of resource files and make edits and save them. So what will this provide user with is that they don't have to download the file and make edits from the computer and re-upload it to the form. It will, they don't have to go through that step. They just can make edits to the files and save it, and it will automatically get updated. So we'll be working on that feature.
And you're planning to support text and JavaScript, is that right?
Yeah, text-based non-binary types of resource files. So I guess like Jimmy earlier in our
And they
call
can they
suggested.
and they
Yes,
can
sorry.
add images and delete images today. So that's not, we don't need to provide an image editor because they can just add and delete those, right? So it's really just about the text files or the text formatted.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And then this is another example of a feature that did not exist in InfoPath Designer that we're giving to you. And Jimmy's going to show another feature that, well, an extension to the condition editing later. We already talked about this once already, but we're trying to make things better. We're not just trying to hit the baseline. We're trying to rise above the past and give you new features that make sense. And I assume that somebody has a comment on this. I'm sure somebody like Missy or Richard or one of our very popular, or so one of our what's the right word here, Hillary? Our people who always
Oh, I
come
would
to these
power
webinars,
user.
our
Yeah,
users,
these are the
um,
folks that are using Forms a lot and have tried Forms
and I
Designer
haven't
for us.
haven't checked if you're here, Mr. Richard, but if anyone has a question on that, please or comment, please do add that to the Q&A. Thanks, Samuel. Sorry, Hillary, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh,
Uh,
no, that's
Thank
fine. I
you.
was just going to say I'm excited about this idea. So thank you, Samuel, for implementing this, being able to change those XML files without having to download them, change them, and upload them. It's these little time savings make a difference.
Samuel, I keep saying Samuel. She's saying Samuel. How do we pronounce her name correctly? You've been with us for over 2 years and we can't figure this out.
You're asking me?
Yes, I'm asking you. Do we pronounce her
Yeah,
name? Who's correct? Hillary or me?
I think you're more correct. It's some yog.
Okay. Sorry, Hillary. Just want to make sure I'm not
That's okay.
saying the
No, I
wrong
certainly
thing.
didn't mean to
And
mispronounce his name.
and
Yeah.
Sweta, I mean, obviously we mispronounce everything all the time because we're just human. And AIs do the same thing. Sweta, do you want to talk about your new updates?
Sure. Hello,
I'll
everyone.
stop sharing.
So I'll quickly share my screen. So today I'll demo two new Forms Designer feature. The first is adding borders on different controls, and second is now we can split a table cell in Forms Designer. So the first feature is now we can add borders on different controls like text box, rich text box, state picker, buttons, picture buttons, and so on. And also to containers like sections and repeating sections. So now I'm going to add borders to this email text box here. So if I select this, we have this control properties to the right, and you can see a modify borders button here. So if I click this, we have a model to select different styles and color for borders. So let's select a style here and let's choose a different color. Let's select red and let's change the width as well. And over here, we have different buttons to apply the border style to each side of the control. So if I click on this button here, it will apply the border style to the top A's and similarly to the right. And over here, we have two presets. The first is outline. So if I click on this, we'll have borders on all the sides of the control, and none preset will remove the style. So let's select this outline and let's click OK. So you can see here the border style has been applied to the email text box. Let's save this and let's see in Forms Viewer. Okay, so this is the previous version of the form, and if I just reload the form, so we have the new borders on this email text box. So the next feature is we can split table cells. So I'm going to split this cell with red borders into multiple cells. So if I place the cursor inside the cell, we have different properties, and one of the properties is to split the cells. So I can select any number of rows. So let's select 4 rows and 3 columns. And if I click on the split cell, you can see 12 cells here, and let's do this one more time. Let's select 4 columns and 4 rows. So you can see the cell got split into 16 cells. So in this way, we can split any cells. Yeah, and the next feature that we are currently working on is Save As. So right now in Forms Designer, we only have save feature. So to make a copy of this, we need to, save, download, and re-upload to Forms Viewer. So we are going to reduce the step with the save as feature, where user can rename and create a new template with the new name with this feature. Yep.
Great. And
Thank
just a
you.
quick call out to Richard, who's not here, but he was the one who recommended, I suggested this feature, I believe. Is that correct, Hillary?
Yeah, that's right. He was asking about whether or not there was an option that he was overlooking, and we're like, oh, we need that option. There's nothing you're
Yeah,
overlooking, but we overlooked
we
something.
totally missed very, very critical functionality. Awesome job, Sweta. So Jimmy, you're up next, and you're talking about the condition builder, and of course, you've also been working on the formula editor, which you're probably not going to demo tonight, but maybe you can talk a little bit about it, Jimmy.
Yep, sure thing. Okay, so in the last webinar, I demoed some updates to the well, we didn't have a condition editor prior to the last webinar. So I demoed this new feature we had was in the works. At that time, it was still in development. I've now finished the development on it and also integrated it into several parts of the app. So just to have another look at that, the first place where it's been integrated is in the rules feature. So if you're either looking at an action rule or a formatting rule, you've got this condition here. Previously, clicking on this would open up our XPath editor box. Now it'll open up the condition in this nice dialog that's custom suited for modifying conditions. You can add additional conditions. A thing we've added that was not present in InfoPath is that you can stack and sort of nest the ands and ors deeply like this and sort of create these hierarchies of ands and ors. And the InfoPath had this sort of flat list of ands and ors. It was almost not misleading, but it made it look like the condition was going to be applied differently from how it would be in some cases. So I think this makes it a lot clearer. It allows you to build more complex expressions, and it's I'd say it looks nice to work with. The next place where it's been added is in filtering. This filter is repeating section, repeating table filter. This is this feature itself is a relatively recent add. So if you click on a repeating section or table that's bound to the main data source, you get this option down here for a filter. And now if you click that, you'll get the condition editor here as well. So let's say I wanted to only show questions where the question number was less than 2. Could do that. Let's actually see if that worked. There are 3 sections. There are 3 questions built into this form, so I should only see 2 with that filter there.
Not 1.
Actually 1. Yeah, off by 1 error. I should only see 1. So there's question 1. Let me fix that condition, less than or equal to 2. And refresh. There's that. And now we can go ahead and remove the filter. Use this delete button. And we see all 3 questions. So yeah, now you can filter sections and repeating tables like that. So the last place where it's been added, which is slightly more elaborate, is in the XPath editor. So some of you may be familiar with this feature in InfoPath. So when you're inserting a field into the XPath editor, I'm going to pull out the answer to the 3rd question, which is called final thoughts. So I'm going to highlight it at the top of the form above the question. So somebody opening up the form can see that value. So let's say they're reviewing a response. So I'm going to go final thoughts, insert the field, but I want a specific answer. I want the one where question number is 3. So I'm going to go here to add filter. And that again is going to open up my condition box. And I want the one where question number is equal to 3. Okay. And you can see that this button is changed color to indicate that it has a filter has been applied. The text also says modify instead of add once there's a filter. So I click OK here. And you can see that it has automatically built this part in the square brackets, which is called a predicate, where it's basically filtering the values to pick the one where question number is 3. And we can try that out. So I'm going to save and open. I can just fill in these questions. The audio was good. A bit too long. I really enjoyed presentation. And as soon as I tab out here, yep, there's my 3rd answer. So I know some people, they're a bit shaky with their XPaths, and this is a great way to sort of add filters and things to your XPaths. So yeah, so that's about it for this new condition editor. It didn't quite make it into this last release, but it is going to be included in the next one. Now, the next feature that I've been working on is a further improvement to this XPath box. And this is something else that you might be familiar with if you've used InfoPath a lot. But what InfoPath does is when you're in this box, often it'll collapse the XPaths down into more manageable units. So this is what we've had up until now. This is the actual full XPath formula. You can see, slashes and colons and a lot of brackets. But if we uncheck this here, what you see is they collapse down basically. It just shows you the most salient information. So basically, where we had participants info/user, we just get user now. Where we had questions/question/answer, we get answer, and the / my question number becomes question number. So it's a lot more readable here. Of course, these are sort of atomic units. So if I move my cursor around, it moves around them as a single piece. I can select them and so cut and paste, things like that. I can undo, redo. So I think this is going to make the editing experience for XPath a lot more pleasant. Partly, a lot of this was added just in the past 10 hours. The ability to toggle back and forth was added in the last 2 hours. The final plan is to have this unchecked by default. So you get the collapsed version when you open the box. Currently, you get the full version, but yeah, this will probably be in the next version, and it's pretty much close to done. So look forward to that.
That's amazing, Jimmy. I didn't expect you to show this. This is the first time I'm seeing this. And we have a couple comments in the question and answer dialogue. First of all, way to go on the demo. Really looking forward to these. I really want to hear everyone's feedback on this new visualization of the ands and the ors there. Is that too confusing? Does it make sense? It is beautiful, but we want to make sure we're not making it more complicated. So Misty is saying such great updates. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Misty. Peter is question, when a cell is split, how is the underlying data connection affected? I guess
there shouldn't be a data connection to a layout table. So we're splitting cells in a layout table. And so layout tables are unbound. They're not bound to anything in the data connection. I hope that clarifies that.
And Chris has a question. What template group would that fall under? I'm not sure what that means as a question. Does anyone else understand that question?
Chris, you're going to have to elaborate. We don't know what you mean.
It's all good. So we're going to try to wrap this up as quickly as possible, but we are very close to this final release for this cycle, which will be on July 25th. That is 1 week from tomorrow. And today's demos, plus these new things we just talked to you about, Jimmy even showed the formula editor. This one I talked about, save as. We've got edit resource files coming to you as well. Hopefully you're excited about that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sit back and get your feedback. We're going to reach out to people and try to get more engagement so that we can get more feedback on these. We are of course, we're monitoring who's using this, and we have seen an uptick in adoption just over the last 3 or 4 months, which is great to see that more people are using it. So please continue to try to use FormsDesigner and give us your feedback, because that's what's going to push it forward. I want to talk just briefly about AI. So we've been working on AI additions to Forms Viewer and to FormsDesigner, well, mainly to Forms Viewer and our support portal for the last 2.5 years now. And we shipped the new support portal with the AI chatbot. We talked about Qdabra, which is a great sort of the underlying technology of that, which allows you to take a whole bunch of documents and in a SharePoint site library and add a chatbot. And the key thing with the Qdabra is not only does it have a lot of configurability for admins, but it allows you to test it, so you can actually prove its accuracy. And then and by testing it, you're actually adding query and answer sets. And if for some reason you say, well, wait a minute, this isn't working, then the query answer sets become a back off of an FAQ that you can just back off to and just shut down the AI. And of course, it's pluggable, so you could use any AI. You could use well, not absolutely any AI, because some AIs don't have good APIs, but you know the idea is that you can use any of the major models, including the models that are off on-prem or offline. But we've been extending, aside from the QDoc chat feature, we shipped QForm chat last year. We've been working on that for a long time. Sweta was the main developer on that. Samyung was on QDoc chat. And QForm chat, which we talked about I guess the last time we talked about it was in December of last year, a long time ago now. QForm chat allows you to add smart validation to your form. So you can say, if you have a compliance document, you can say, I want this field to match this compliance document. And then you can just basically create that in the form. And it will go off and get the document, analyze it using AI, and then make sure that the field is valid based on that document. Very cool feature. It also does autofill. A lot of stuff we haven't talked about recently. We're probably going to do another webinar on QForm chat soon. But meanwhile, in the last 6 or 7 months, we've been looking at these agentic AIs. And one thing that we've been doing, we talked about in a couple webinars ago, was using Claude Code to improve our development. We've reduced time between 40 and 70%. Jimmy, Hillary, Sweta, and Sanyon have been faster at developing these features. But what I want to talk about briefly here, what we're really trying to do is share the journey. We're on this journey of trying to figure out how to make AI useful. And right now, I think you're probably all using AI in some way. Maybe you're just using ChatGPT. Maybe you're doing more complex things. So what I've recently started doing, I started doing this probably a year ago, but I'm recently using it more. And that is to not just, I'll take an output from one AI and paste it into another AI and say, here's what Claude said, or here's what Gemini said. What do you think? And getting the AIs to collaborate. And this is mainly for emails, but also for analysis. So if you've got some special thing I'm trying to do, requires knowledge I don't have, I'll start off with Claude, and because Claude has a lot of memory, has a lot of knowledge about what I've been talking about before. And then I'll switch to Gemini or Grok. Grok is a new addition since last week to identify more deeper things that I might not be aware of. And then I'll finally use ChatGPT 4.5 to polish off the email because it's got a really good ability to generate smooth English, smooth Japanese, whatever. So the key thing here is you're using these different AIs to create what we call an ensemble, which is a better output. So it's more harmonious, right, in terms of its output. So think of yourself as a conductor orchestrating these different processes, right? You've got your musicians. Now, why just four? Well, we'll talk about that in a second. But think about your main lead violinist, right? She's creating the central creative vision and primary output. You've got some harmonization going on. You've got you've got these different, and this is kind of interesting because Grok 4 just came out last week, and Grok 4 is an ensemble. So it's got 4 different, Grok 4 Heavy, I should say. Grok 4 by default does not have this, but Grok 4 Heavy spawns these 4 different AIs, and each one of them is doing something different. And then they're combining it in the end to create this harmony, which is better than all the other AIs because they've been able to exceed the state of the art, which is amazing. And they're just an LLM. It's not doing anything agentic. It's a mixture of experts on top of an LLM without any agentic reasoning. So the reason why this outperforms a single use AI is because you've got different start conditions, different initial instructions to these different performers, and then you're collaborating at the end. So you're all reviewing it. It doesn't scale because if you are all reviewing everyone else, then that becomes very much a bottleneck. Maybe up to 20 or so, but Mistral was the first AI over a year ago. Mistral is a French AI, open source. They did 8 mixture of experts. They had 8 experts, and they would mix the output of them, and they were able to achieve a better score using that. Grok is 4, right? So the optimal is not 100. It's probably somewhere below 20, above 3, right? And this slide actually was created by an AI. So I used Manus AI, which is a Singaporean firm, to generate the slides. None of the other AIs can generate slides. So my process for generating these 4 slides to share this idea with you was talking to Grok 4 about itself, are you an ensemble or not? It denied it at first. It said no. But then I went back to Gemini Pro and I said, hey, this doesn't make any sense because it certainly seems like an ensemble. Took the results, went back to Grok, and then Grok admitted, yes, indeed, it was an ensemble. And then went to Manus, generated slides, and then took the slides, fed them through Claude and GPT 4.5 several times. And, I generated these slides pretty quickly today. The images weren't great, but appreciate your patience. So any other further questions for us? I'm going to, I can stop sharing and look at the questions, I think.
Well, I wanted to clarify
Yeah.
what Chris was asking about. So Chris's question about template groups was when we did save as, what template group would our form go into when we saved a copy of it? And I was chatting with Sweta about that in a different Teams window. And I think the initial thought was to just save it to the same group as the current template is. So if my template is in a group called prod, and I do save as, my new template would also be in the same group.
That's a great question,
but I think
Chris.
It's a really good suggestion to let the user then select a different group or create a new group.
That's great. Thinking forward. Thank you very much, Chris, for that help. What else? Any other questions or comments? Well, thank you very much for joining. I will try to process this new Teams recording and get it out to you on YouTube. We will probably be abandoning GoToWebinar after this if this works out well. So appreciate your patience with that. It took us forever to do that, but we finally did.
Mhm.
Any other comments before we shut down the webinar? Hillary, Jimmy, thanks, Chris, for the thumbs up.
Yeah, just wonderful to see everybody and to see the progress. Super exciting.
Yay, thanks everyone. Thanks, Misty. Have a great day. Ciao.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.